This is Saved by the Bell, the game from Pressman. Today we're going to have a look at the original 1992 edition and compare it to the 2017 Target exclusive edition and see what's changed and what stayed the same over the course of 25 years. Now, diving right into this 1992 edition, I love how nostalgic this cover art is. The color motif is bang on for the era with these neon colors popping off with that black background. And of course, we have a nice picture of the cast from the show. When we flip it over, we see a brief description of what the game is like. And when we open up this lift top box, we see a little cardboard space saver that keeps all of the small parts off to one side of the box. When we look at the game itself, we have this nice board here that again has the same color motif as the game box that we saw. It has an integrated spinner here. You're going to get three types of cards. You're going to get picture cards. These are actually your scorekeepers. You have various pictures of the kids from the show, and your goal is to collect one picture of each of the cast members. The first one to complete a set and go on 2 dates, one with Zach and one with Slater, wins the game. That's right, dates are mandatory. And this is kind of funny to me because when I was reading through the rules, contrary to a lot of older games that I've reviewed that generally gender the rules more towards the men, they did not anticipate any male fans would be playing this game. So this is pretty much like exclusively intended for young girls, which I thought was hilarious, both in the presentation and just going through and playing it myself. We also have these little question cards here. Now, there can be a number of different question types. There's like All About Bayside, which is multiple choice. There are bonus cards within the questions that just plain give you a boost, like going anywhere you want. And there are consensus-based ones that are called decisions, where you and your girlfriends will each take a piece of paper and a pencil, and you will be presented with a hypothetical that then you write down your answer and set it down. And whoever has the greatest consensus, or most people who share that same answer, get the points to move ahead and advance in the game. Now, you're also going to be collecting these note cards. Oh, and I grabbed a misprint right here. The note cards in this set were horribly misprinted, but this is how you collect pictures. You either get a picture of Zach or Slater from going on a date with them, or of course meeting them at one of the various locations like math, the Max, driver's ed, home ec, the gym, or science class. However, you will have other characters like Screech sent me, meet me in home ec class. So as I'm traversing the board, if I land on the home ec class and I have a note from Screech, I get the Screech card. So you want to collect these notes so you have the opportunity to meet people. However, there were a lot of them where like half the note was cut off and it just says Lisa. You know what I mean? So the note cards were really poorly made. In fact, a lot of the accoutrements in the 1992 edition are very poorly made. One thing I also thought was funny is, so at the outset of the game, everybody gets one of these trackers. This is a note from Zach and Slater to go on their date. Do you notice that Zach and Slater put on lipstick and kissed next to their signatures when inviting you for a date? I mean, and this, they just can't figure out. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just silly to me. You get a D6 to move, so it's standard pips 1 through 6. However, this one is blue with rounded corners and white pips. We also get this die here where you apply your own stickers. It has orange, green, pink, and go anywhere sides to it. Orange means you get one of these trivia questions. Green means you're going to spin this spinner to see what happens to you. Pink means you get a note, and the go anywhere is self-explanatory. You get to go anywhere on the board. Gameplay sessions for this weren't too long, thankfully. I did like the heart movers, actually. I thought that was so, again, this is, they geared this towards teenage girls not realizing that the Saved by the Bell show had relatively broad appeal, which makes it so funny to me. I thoroughly enjoyed this. When I was testing this out here, it was so humorous to me. And by the way, young ladies watching this, if there are 2 guys in your class that are dating you and 5 of your friends in rapid succession, you need to have a little bit more self-respect and show those guys to the door. I don't care if it's Zach and Slater. You're worth more than that. It's a terrible lesson that we're teaching girls here. This game also came with character cards that are not related to the gameplay, but actually have little facts about the actors who played the various roles. Now, unfortunately, I was missing 2 of them. We are missing Jesse and Zach here. So we did get Kelly, Slater, Lisa, and Screech. But again, these have nothing to do with the game. And of course, when you're thrifting games, sometimes you have missing parts. So I'm glad that if I'm missing pieces, it was nothing too consequential. Fun little nostalgia treat. Really hilarious to me, particularly because when I'm reviewing games from like the 70s and 80s, a lot of them are very gendered towards a male audience, and to run across one that's so exclusively gendered towards a female audience and then still has some really interesting themes there that it's pressing on. This is kind of like if Tiger Beat had a game. I found it very novel. Now, moving over to the 2017 edition, the cover art again screams 90s in a sense, but this is like the best way that I can describe this entire 2017 edition of the Saved by the Bell game, cover art included, is it's like one of those posts you see on Facebook that was made by a 20-something who's reminiscing about what a utopia the 90s were and talking about how we had it so good because single-income houses lived almost like royalty by comparison to today. And anybody who actually lived in the 90s knows how misguided that sweet summer child is. So bless their heart. But that's just really the vibe I get from this game. The cover art. We flip it over again. We've got a nice little explanation about what the game is like, telling you that it's obvious nostalgia bait, cash-in fodder. This one's also a lift-off top box that features a vacuum-formed organizer that I actually thought was really nice if the recessed portions of it had been just a little bit deeper and would be able to hold all the game pieces. But alas, they're a hair too shallow, so the cards float around all over in the box no matter what you do. So that part was a little bit frustrating. But overall, like the build quality, the box is great. When we get into some of the other accoutrements, oh boy. So similar to the original game, your goal is to collect a picture of all 6 of the cast members, and you get these little yearbooks here that have little punch outs so you can slide picture cards into them. Now, you're constantly sliding picture cards in and taking them out and trading throughout the game. Your goal is to get 1 of each of the cast member or 3 of one member of the cast, whichever comes first. The yearbook thing just makes holding onto your hand harder, which I thought was just, I don't know, it was funny, but again, this is less a game and more like a piece of merch. You don't roll dice to move, you just have this spinner that looks like a painter's palette and is made with a level of quality that I would expect from a Cracker Jack box. When you get to the actual trivia, so here's the funny thing too, when you're collecting face cards, each one of the characters starts in a different spot on the map that's not denoted on the board. You actually have to consult the rules. Oh, before I forget, the 1992 edition had just the rules printed on a nice piece of 8.5 by 11 full color bond paper. So it's not shiny, but clearly held the test of time. Sorry, I went past that there. We're stuck in the weeds with how much of a nostalgia bomb it was. The rules for this one, by the way, are actually printed on nice, shiny, sealed paper, full color. And this is where they tell you where all the various characters must start. So Kelly starts in drama, Jesse starts in Jesse's room, Lisa starts at the max, Screech starts at homeroom, Slater starts in the geometry class. Sure. And Zach starts in Zach's room. Goes without saying. But I think like arbitrary starting place is arbitrary. It seems really dumb. And then we have like the player pieces make me giggle because they're just the disembodied heads of all the cast members. Dustin Diamond's expression. It's like Screech. So you spin this little wish spinner here. And okay, so there's also like options for view a scene and timeout. So if you get timeout, I don't know why timeout means to steal a photo from somebody's yearbook, but that's in fact what the timeout space is. And view a scene, this is the trivia portion of the game. I'm dying. Oh God. Okay, sorry. So view a scene, right? We have these scene cards and you turn them around, they have a frame from the show and you're supposed to show everybody at the table. Okay, then you place it face down in front of you, and then we got these question cards, and these are the cheapest freaking trivia cards I've ever seen. They're tiny, they're thin. Why make a card like that? Okay, anyway, so everybody then draws a question card, and it's things like, how many shirts with patterns were in the scene? You know, or who was Zach talking to, or who was Kelly talking to, or what was the color of the floor? So some of these questions are not even relevant to the scene. Like, luckily there's one shirt with a pattern in the scene, but I've had some where the character mentioned isn't even in the scene in here. But everybody reads their question, gives it an answer, then we flip this over and see who had an accurate answer and who didn't, and that determines if you get to collect a player card. Now, what's funny is when you're collecting pictures in the 1992 one, they literally just told you to shuffle through the deck until you found your favorite picture of that character. So it wasn't even the first one you saw, it was just pick one that you like. Objectify these children, please. But in this one, you place a face up on this space here, and then everything else, all the other pictures, face down. So there's sort of like a blind draw drafting mechanic. So like, let's say I land Screech on Screech and there is a Screech card, I can take it. But if I land Screech on Screech and there isn't a Screech card, but let's say I have 2 Screech cards in my hand, I can then exchange Screech for another card or draw a card in the hopes of getting a different one like Screech. So they have like these weird arbitrary rules of when you're changing out cards and everything, but at the end of the day, it's a collect-a-thon. You're trying to either get the whole set or 3 of a kind. When you're doing the scene thing, you have this little hourglass with orange sand, which I thought was quite nice. This is a 30-second hourglass. Pretty good quality compared to the hourglasses that I've seen in a lot of other games. And then for whatever reason, you also get a fridge magnet. Yeah, we get this little cutout. I thought this was great. So we get this little vacuform thing here, and the Bayside Tigers is where you put the hourglass. And at first I thought that was just like a sticker, but no, when I pulled it out, it's a fridge magnet. So again, this is really more merch than an actual game. I did appreciate that not only did they have a full set of instructions, I'll leave that hourglass in there, who cares, we're not playing. Not only did they have a full set of instructions, but they do have a link where you can actually watch the instructions on how to play the game. So if I'm not getting into enough detail for you, which I'm so sad because it's really not worth your time, you can certainly follow that link. I'll throw it in the description there. But this whole episode was a fun nostalgia trip for me, but I'm just dying because this one here, it's not a good game, but it was more fun than the modern one. And what bugged me about the modern one is, like, at least when you had trivia in the original, it was relevant to the show. This one, again, remember what I said about a 20-something putting a post on Facebook about how great the 90s were? You do not need to have ever seen the show to understand, like, to answer any of these questions, because they just show you a picture and you're playing memory. This is basically Saved by the Bell edition of a memory game. Now, and I do want to point out, by the way, they are so irreverent to the show that this little blurb, if you know, you know, but the game you'll be so excited to play. They're just flagrantly making jokes about the episode where Jesse gets addicted to caffeine pills. Like, oh yeah, it was so funny. Funny joke, funny joke. The show producers tried to do one PSA episode and it blew up in their face. Very dark, Pressman. I approve, but very dark. But this overall, this is one of those where I understand where this is a Target exclusive. This is the kind of thing somebody sees on the shelf and they go, my, that looks funny. I will buy this. And then they remember when they get home that they haven't seen the show in 20 years and that it didn't age well and that they don't recall anything. But thanks to the rose-tinted glasses of hipsters, we find a way to make a trivia game that doesn't require any knowledge of the source material. So, like, when we compare this to, say, like the Star Trek game I reviewed not long ago, where the trivia was super deep cuts and granular information from specific episodes, this is like the polar opposite of that. This is... You don't need to have seen the show. You just have to know that, hey, this is a show from the 90s. I want to feel very 90s when I play this. Just had me dying here. Worth the price of admission if you just like the motif and think it's funny, but as far as gameplay is concerned, not very satisfying. Game sessions on both of them are blessedly quite short. I think this one you could get through with 2 players, it was really quick. When you have more, I mean, it's the amount of turns that really boosts the length of the game. But I mean, with 2 players, we're able to get through this in like a 15-minute play. There was not much substance to it whatsoever. The original actually took a little bit longer. And again, despite all of the silliness of it, I had a laugh competing with other players, trying to be the first to get my date with Zach and Slater out of the way. It's 2 different dates on the same. Sorry, you got a maxed out game of 6 teenage girls playing Saved by the Bell, and they're all racing to go on dates with these guys, and they even take them to the same space. It's just... oh, girls, show some self-respect. Show some self-respect. Is it fun? Yeah, there's some fun to be had. You gotta be a fan. Here's the deal. You have to be a bigger fan to track down the 1992 edition. You'll have a better time. If you are just a passing fan and you're doing like a 90s themed party night, this is a presentable memory game. Like, it's all right. Like, don't expect to be asked anything about the show whatsoever. They just want you to have the warm fuzzies about Saved by the Bell. But these 2 games are scarcely related, save for the fact that in both games you're collecting pictures of teenagers, which kind of gave me a little bit of a weird vibe. I'm not gonna lie, but it just whole thing's absurd. This was a fun review, just because I love to do these little like licensed games that are, sometimes I'm really surprised. Like, I gotta say, like the Roadrunner game, based off the Roadrunner cartoon from the late 60s, early 70s, that one had a surprising amount of strategy to it. When I get into stuff like this, where it's like so much of a cash grab, like the Star Trek game I did, sometimes games are so bad you have a lot of fun with them, but you can't in any good conscience like recommend it to anybody outside of like a very niche audience. So I'm assuming that you all kind of gather that if you are a big fan of Saved by the Bell, you'll have a great time. If you are not, and you're just looking for some 90s nostalgia, get the 2017 one. You'll still have a good time. It's not the greatest game. It is so weird that they have the little disembodied heads of the actors all the way around on the game board. It's the 2017, in my opinion, is just a little bit more bizarre than the 92. Even though the 92 also has its interesting problems that didn't age well, this one seems more relevant to the show and more fun. But I mean, hey, which one would you want to play? Would you want to play just the stupid nostalgia cash grab that you don't need to know the show and you're just having a good time? Or would you like to go hard with a deep cut about Saved by the Bell? Comment below and let me know. Thanks to my couch potatoes, the channel members who make awesome episodes like this possible. You guys rock. And thank you for joining me today. I love reviewing these awesome nostalgic games with you, and I can't wait to see you next time.